Set and Match by Argembarger. Far on the outskirts of Ponyville, a tan stallion ground his hoof on the rough, hot clay. He squinted through the bright afternoon sunlight at his erratically bouncing opponent. A yellow-green ball bounced on the taut strings of the racket clutched in the pony's teeth. He flung his hat back, and the ball flew towards the sky in a smooth, predictable arc. The face of the racket struck the ball within a sharp plonk as he twisted his head in a refined, efficient serving motion. The ball whizzed across the court, barely clearing the top of the dividing net. The pink receiver flailed her racket wildly, meeting only air as the ball struck the clay just before the white baseline at the opposite end of the court. The fuzzy sphere bounced hard, embedding itself into the chain-link fence that divided the world of tennis from the world of the mundane, and the stallion reared back with glee. His opponent giggled. "Wow, Ace, you're so amazingly great at this. That's your 4th ace today. I mean, your name is Ace, but still, when you asked me to play tennis with you, I knew you were going to be good because you've got tennis balls on your flank, but I thought I'd at least be good enough to rally you with a little bit. Did I tell you I used to play tennis with my sisters? It was always really hard, but maybe that's because we played with rocks instead of tennis balls." And Pinkie Pie bounded around the perimeter of the court, wearing a big, goofy grin. A smile sneaked across Ace's mouth as he tuned out Pinkie Pie's ramblings. That pink pony would talk his ears right off if he let her, though she did make a fine tennis partner. Despite his unstoppable dominance score-wise, she had been rallying most of his serves. Pinkie had even managed to surprise him a few times with some impressively random returns. They were so random, in fact, that he wasn't entirely sure how she was doing it. The mare was certainly just as good, if not better, than his usual partners. And more importantly to him, she stayed bubbly and cheerful the whole time. Ace played hard. He liked winning, but upsetting the other pony was a different matter. Unfortunately, they only got upset an awful lot. Either he was playing at his best and they got upset because they lost, or he gave them a chance and they would get upset because he was patronizing them. It didn't make any difference. It was all just stress that he didn't want to deal with. Ace wiped some sweat from his brown sideburns. A pleasant breeze rushed past his face, and as he lowered his hoof, he spotted a rose-tinged cluster of clouds at the horizon and grinned. The wind would be blowing them overhead to provide some relief from the harsh sun before too long. "And we broke so many rackets, but you know what they say, when you hit a rock with a tennis racket, it will probably break a racket." The mare broke off into another fit of giggles, recapturing Ace's attention. "But yeah, Daddy would make us stop playing rock tennis after the 4th time we broke a window. Maybe we should have played outside instead, huh?" Pinkie hopped over to the trapped ball, carefully pinching her hoofs around its felt-covered shell, and then began tugging it from the fence. Ace set aside the spare ball he had already dug out of his bag, shaking his head a bit. This mare never ceased to amuse. Pinkie pulled and yanked on the tennis ball to no effect. "Gee, this one is really stuck," she said. She planted her hooves against the fence and leaned backwards until it was looking at Ace upside down. "Look at how hard I'm pulling! Wah!" she shouted as the ball suddenly popped out. The fence rattled as Pinkie Pie flopped backwards, head over hooves, and landed with a squeak. Ace, concerned, rushed over to her.
"Are you all right?"
he asked. Pinkie Pie looked up at him and giggled. "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm always tumbling around and falling. That's why my hair's so cushiony and soft." The stallion chuckled a bit and helped her up.
"Well, that's good. Eat yourself again, unless you want to call it a day."
He considered clouds.
"Looks like rain soon."
Pinkie Pie looked back at the sky. "Oh boy! I was just starting to get thirsty too." Ace tilted his head at her.
"You drink rainwater?"
"Not rainwater, silly!" the party pony proclaimed. Just then, the voice of an unfamiliar mare rang out.
"Pinkie! Pinkie Pie!"
Pinkie stopped bouncing. "Over here, Twilight!" she yelled back. The purple unicorn winked to the tennis court with a flash of light and an icy twinkle. "Wah!" Twilight, Pinkie greeted happily. Have you met Ace? He's such a tennis whiz. Twilight Sparkle gave Ace a quick and polite nod before turning her attention to Pinkie Pie.
Where the hell have you... Were you seriously playing tennis?
Pinkie gasped. Wow, Twilight! You're sure great at guessing! Twilight managed to massage her face with a hoof.
It's a gift, I suppose. Now tell me, why were you playing Actually, forget about it. I've been looking everywhere for you. We finally have the elements, remember? We have to go confront Discord and save Equestria from eternal chaos. Ringing any bells here?
Ace glanced nervously at Twilight.
Discord, eternal chaos? Oh, sheesh. Sorry about that. I asked her to play with me. I needed a partner, and when I saw her walking by, I didn't think she was big.
Alright. Don't worry about it. I know how she can get, though. I don't know what she was doing all the way out here when she should be in Ponyville.
Twilight said, trying to compose herself. She turned back to Pinkie.
Now please, get your element and let's go.
Pinkie nodded and retrieved her golden gem-studded necklace from the spectator's bench where it had been tossed. Sorry about your game, Ace, she said as she trotted back to Twilight. Ace shuffled his hooves nervously.
Oh, you know, don't worry about it. Saving the world and whatnot, I know how it goes.
You do? Pinkie looked at him with a mix of surprise, admiration, and camaraderie.
No, not really, huh?
Ace admitted. Oh, well, you should try it sometimes. It's really neat. Pinkie Pie smiled at him.
Alright, off we go.
Twilight said impatiently.
And Ace, was it? I recommend finding some shelter as soon as possible.
They teleported away, interrupting Ace's somewhat confused and stammered goodbye. Ace trotted over to his tennis bag and started packing his equipment. A large shadow passed over the court, and a cool breeze rushed over his brow.
Ah,
He thought.
finally some rain. Funny,
The stallion took a deep breath.
smells like cocoa.
He only removed his duffel bag from his head when he realized that the sudden brown downpour that followed it was, in fact, chocolate. This unforeseen development distracted his mind from all things tennis, and he zipped up his bag and took some time to really consider his surroundings. The hills that his private tennis court were tucked into appeared to be just the wrong shade of orange for his liking, and freakishly thin, slender shadows danced macabre dances far off into distance. A low rumbling echoed up in the strange pink clouds, like a pony doing a bad vocal impression of thunder. The chocolate downpour picked up intensely, and he decided it would be a good idea to return to his house before things got even more explainable than Pinkie Pie's tennis skills. He broke into a full gallop towards the court exit, but a firm tap on the shoulders on the wizard stopped him. He looked back and saw that what he regarded as the least sensible creature that had ever burned its visage into his mind.
Ace, my lad, it's so nice to meet you.
The thing exclaimed. The stallion shrunk away from the giant serpent-like creature comprised of various mismatched body parts that loomed over him. It grinned in a friendly-looking and snaggle-toothed grin, and then extended his lion's paw in a greeting. Not wanting to offend this strange, imposing creature, Ace hesitantly reached out a hoof and allowed it to be shook.
I don't mean to be rude, but who or what are you? And how do you know my name?
Ace inquired.
Oh, now, I make it a point to know all sorts of things. But where are my manners? My name is Discord, and I am a Draconicus.
Discord bowed low and met Ace's gaze.
And you, my friend, are named Ace, and I hear you're a bit of a tennis player.
The Draconicus grinned.
I suppose you could say that, yes.
Ace replied.
Would you be the one causing all of this rain?
Oh my, yes. Isn't it lovely? So refreshing, and delicious to boot.
Discord reached behind his ear and pulled out a fluffy pink cloud. He held it over his open mouth and wrung it dry of its contents.
Chocolatey.
And what do you want with me then?
Ace said, building up some courage in the face of the beast's goofy demeanor.
Nothing much, really. I've just had my hands full messing with these silly elements of harmony. Real laugh riots, all of them, by the way. And I thought I'd take a break and play a bit of tennis.
Discord said, suddenly twirling a tennis racket around his talons.
It's been so long since I've played, but I've always had a fondness for the sport. When I heard you were the best around, well, I just knew I had to drop by for a visit.
Discord swung his twisted, impossible-looking tennis racket around like a baseball bat and assumed a dramatic sports pose, grinning wildly.
What do you say, AC? Care for a match?
Ace stared at Discord suspiciously.
And what if I refuse?
I don't know.
Discord shrugged.
I wasn't expecting you to, but I guess that would mean I'd have to just go deal with those obnoxious elements of harmony right now instead.
He smirked.
I bet Pinkie Pie will be good for a laugh or two, at least.
The beast snapped his fingers and pointed at the sky, at which point a forking streak of lightning cut its way through the clouds.
Or, you know, we could just play a bit of tennis instead.
The pony cast his mind back to the summer that Nightmare Noon threatened Equestria with eternal night, and remembered how the elements of harmony had risked their lives to stop her. He also recalled his tennis partner's unbreakable good cheer, and considered Discord's threat with no small amount of dread.
Fine.
He said reluctantly.
If it'll keep you away from them, we'll play tennis.
Discord chuckled.
Good show. I hope you don't mind playing for an audience.
Discord clapped his hands together twice, and a horde of freakishly distorted rabbits with stilt legs surrounded the fence of the tennis court.
So cute. Hey there, little fellas. Say hi for Daddy Discord.
The rabbits rattled the fence with an unearthly shriek. Somewhat shaken, Ace retrieved his equipment from the bag. Discord stood on the opposite end of the court, patiently waiting for him to be beneath the chocolate rain. Ace bit into his trusty racket, stood behind his baseline, and stared at Discord.
Are you ready, then?
Ace nodded.
Good.
Discord produced a tennis ball from thin air, and began tossing it and catching it idly.
Here's how we'll do this. We're only going to play one 3-game set. I am quite a busy individual, as I'm sure you can guess, and I have lots of other havoc to wreak. I will serve first. Any questions?
He leaned on his racket, which cast strange flickering shadows onto the court's surface.
Just one.
Ace said, spitting out the racket.
What if I win?
There was a twinkle in Discord's eye.
Aw, really, Ace? I had been hoping this would stay casual.
He grinned.
But I don't know. What did you have in mind?
Ace stared him down.
How about you leave Equestria?
Discord laughed.
Oh, sure thing. Whatever you say, Ace. If you win, I will banish myself from Equestria. Forever. Can we get started now?
And what if you win?
Discord furrowed his brow.
I haven't thought about it. Nothing? What could I possibly want besides the joy of playing a match against you? Don't be getting all self-important on me here, AC. Ego doesn't suit you well.
Discord snapped his fingers. A large neon scoreboard appeared in the air, high above the court. The two rivals stared each other down in the chocolate rainstorm as the monstrous bunnies recusely judged Ace medal. Discord bounced the tennis ball on the court a few times, testing its springiness. Satisfied, he tossed the ball into the air and lobbed it high over the net. Ace got himself underneath the slow-moving projectile and volleyed it as fast and as far away from Discord as he could. Discord drifted towards the ball, which hit the court on the far right side, only a few feet away from the net, and bounced out of play. The scoreboard in the sky awarded 15 points to Ace. Ace raised a confused eyebrow. His opponent gave him a sly wink in response, then telekinetically recovered the ball before sending over another slow, high-arching serve. Ace twisted his head and spiked it directly over the net and into the ground, sending it sailing over Discord's head and out of the court. The scoreboard showed 30 love.
I'm glad to see that the rumors about you were true.
Ace laughed.
You're a lot worse than I expected you to be, Discord.
With the embodiment of chaos contorted his lips and winked at him again. Without warning, he jerked his upper body and lashed out with his spatially tangled racket, sending the tennis ball screaming through the air at Ace's hooves. Ace barely had time to react, diving forward and scooping underneath the ball to tap it back over the net. Discord sauntered over to intercept it and nudged the ball over the edge of the court, bringing the score to 30-15. Discord gave a hearty laugh as the horde of nightmarish rabbits squealed in glee.
What in Equestria was that?
He thought, as he shook away his rattled nerves. Ace pushed himself off the ground and readied himself for the next serve. The Draconicus wasted no time, darting the ball with an unearthly force into the edge of the court. Ace was ready for it and returned the ball with a wild topspin that sent it into a tight arc over the net. Discord flew forward and smacked the ball with all of his considerable strength. Back and forth the ball flew, a yellow-green blur streaking across the court in wild zigzags. On one side of the net, the light tan pony leaped and sprinted erratically, trying to match the unearthly speed of the ball. On the other side, Discord seemed to be everywhere at once, exploiting pockets of space-time, his headache-inducing abomination of a tennis racket carving gashes in reality as he rallied. The two of them went through nearly a dozen of balls, as they kept bursting into flame or exploding. Despite giving Ace an early advantage, Discord managed to claim victory for the first game, but Ace came back to life up to his name in the second game, outsmarting Discord with a series of inspired serves. He quickly secured a score of 40-15, which was a double game at point. Ace felt confidence welling up. He'd beat this fiend with his all-time favorite pastime and save Equestria simultaneously. He'd be a hero. Just as he tossed the ball up for his serve, the hideous rabbit army began screaming in horrible, demonic voices. Ace's concentration broke, and he flopped the serve straight into his opponent's racket. Discord slammed it back for a very easy point.
Discord!
Ace growled. Discord shrugged innocently, but couldn't totally suppress his smile.
Wasn't me.
Because a player's body counts as part of the tennis court, Ace spiked the ball into Discord's smug face to win the game. Discord rubbed his snout gingerly as the scoreboard reset itself for the last game of the set.
Oh, Ace,
Discord said, sounding disappointedly.
I never took you for that kind of a player. So spiteful. Well, if this is the kind of game you wish to play, I'm more than happy to oblige.
Shut up and serve.
Have it your way.
Discord slapped the ball, which traveled in random loops and corkscrews. Ace stared it down and smacked it out of the air like an errant insect. Discord returned it in an even crazier twists and whirls, causing Ace to scamper all over the court. The spirit of chaos kept this up for several minutes, lazily drifting around, letting Ace's stamina drain away. The tennis-playing stallion finally second-guessed himself and lunged himself to the left as the ball sailed to the right.
Need a break there, AC? You seem tired.
No. Breaks in tennis. Keep going.
Ace wheezed.
True enough. Good on you, mate.
Ace's hooves began to ache. The relentless downpour of chocolate had soaked him to the bone, his cocoa-filled hair impeded his vision. Puddles began making the clay court slippery and treacherous, a hazard that Discord conveniently avoided by flying and teleporting. The stallion's neck was on fire as he twisted and jerked, trying to match the sporadic flight of Discord's hits. His teeth ground into the rubber grip of the racket until he could taste the aluminum frame. Ace changed direction to return another hit when his hoof slipped into a puddle. He toppled over into the liquid as the ball flew by. The rabbits crawled over each other in a grotesque pile, their high-pitched, keening laughter resonating in Ace's ears until he felt ready to scream.
Aw, now I feel bad.
Discord cooed.
Here, let me put a little spring in your step.
The sports stallion felt himself magically being lifted up and placed on his hooves. The court felt different, somehow. Softer, more pliable.
Rubber.
Should make things a bit more interesting, don't you think?
Testing the balance of the new court, Discord's ever-present grin widened when the court violently propelled the ball high above his head. He smacked it as it came back down. It soared over the net and into the ground, rocketing up and out of sight.
That'd be 40 love. Ha ha ha. Looks like I've still got my skills, even after all this time.
What's the point of this? Why challenge me if you aren't gonna play by the rules?
The creature conglomerate threw up his hands.
Where would be the fun in that?
He interrobanged. Though weak from fatigue, Ace found himself with a renewed resolve. He thought about his friends and family, his home, Pinkie Pie, and the other elements of harmony, and all the other ponies and places this monster had presumably ruined and corrupted while he was out playing tennis. Anger percolated through his brain. This thing was making a mockery of his favorite sport in life through flagrant and shameless cheating. He threatened Pinkie Pie and all of Equestria, his disfigured innocent rabbits. His anger became righteous fury. Ace found renewed strength flowing through his body. He would overcome this Draconicus and exile him from Equestria. More importantly, he would show him how to play tennis with honor. Channeling the spirits of his newfound tennis-playing friend, Ace began bouncing on the rubber court, gaining some altitude. He clenched his jaw on the racket and handle and stared Discord down. Discord served, and the ball zoomed in a straight line over the net. Ace timed his bounces so that he would be in perfect position to deflect it. Discord started sending the ball all over the place, but as Ace was a tennis-playing machine, no matter where or how Discord tried to hit the ball, Ace was already in its path. Soon, neither of them were allowing the ball to bounce on the ground at all. They started volleying skywards, upwards of 20 feet in the air. Ace stonewalled every shot, and soon Discord was on the defensive.
Oh, this is getting dull.
Discord sighed. Ace fell from 25 feet into the air to discover that the rubber court had become clay once more. He rolled his body with the impact, but his forehoofs got caught in the maneuver. Yelling out, he dropped onto the clay, gingerly holding out his sprained limbs. Discord tapped the ball over the net. It bounced and rolled into Ace's flank. The bunnies contorted their freakish paws together in a macabre parody of applauding.
I win. Good game, sir,
Discord said, reaching over and grabbing the pony's twisted forehoof for a quick shake.
Your reputation is certainly well deserved. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have 6 meddlesome ponies to deal with.
The mischievous spirit donned a purple and red bowler hat with a flourish, and then unceremoniously tossed his tennis racket over his shoulder and into the hole into the universe.
They should be getting close to my throne by now, the misguided buggers. Toodles!
Discord disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Ace groaned as he clambered onto his sprained hooves. He shambled over to his tennis bag and put away his equipment, and began limping home.
I want a rematch.
The end.